The Commercial Real Estate Show is brought to you by Cone Resnick, forward-thinking advice to navigate business and financial issues. Visit ConeResnick.com. By BB&T, banking, business, and commercial real estate loans. Visit BB&T.com. And Bull Realty, when your business requires proven performance, visit BullRealty.com. And by France Media, providing exposure to the world of commercial real estate. Visit FranceMediaInc.com. Welcome back. I'm Michael Bull, and this is the Commercial Real Estate Show. If you appreciate the show, reach out to our show sponsors, get to know them, and see how they might benefit your business or someone you know. Just look for the tab Show Sponsors at commercialrealestateshow.com. While at the site, you're also invited to check out the blogs, videos, and the professional directory. Well, today we're discussing the U.S. office market. One of the factors facing the office sector is the job market. So let's get a look at how employment is shaping up. Please welcome my next guest, Glen Marker, Senior Market Advisor with PPR, a division of CoStar. CoStar conducts expansive ongoing research to produce and maintain the largest and most comprehensive database of commercial real estate information. Glen, welcome to the Commercial Real Estate Show.
Thanks, Michael.
And to get us started, how many jobs did we add in the U.S. in 2012 and so far in 2013?
We added a little over 2.4 million civilian jobs last year, so that's an average of about 216,000 a month. And then this year so far, we've added about 370,000 jobs, so that's around 124,000 in the first 3 months of the year.
Okay. And how many jobs do we need per month in the U.S. to help the economy heal faster?
We need about 75,000 jobs a month in order to help the economy heal faster. That's in order to keep up with both the population growth rate, but it's also to grow at a rate that's fast enough to keep a healthy or a substantial employment to population ratio.
So how does the retirement of the baby boomers affect the number of needed job gains?
It actually reduces the number that we need on a monthly basis. So for individuals, working age adults, people from 25 to 54 years of age, the standard employment participation rate for those people is around 80% in a healthy economy. That number drops to around 62% when people reach the age of 55 to 64, and then it drops today to around 17% for seniors, anybody who's essentially reached retirement age. So as the baby boomers came of age in the 70s, and then also as women increased their participation in the labor force, the ratio or the number of jobs that we needed to add between the 70s and the early 2000s was essentially north of 1.3 million jobs a year, just to keep up with population and to keep that employment population ratio at a healthy level. Now that baby boomers have started to retire, beginning about 2 years ago, along with the fact that it looks like we've reached the sort of zenith for women's participation in the labor force, that it's topped out at somewhere around 73 to 75%. We need far fewer jobs in order to keep up with population and to keep that ratio healthy. So we need more like 950,000 new jobs a year just to keep up a healthy rate.
Okay, well, that's interesting. I mean, the baby boomers have always affected the business world and employment issues. And what age groups are you seeing the most and the least gains? Who are getting these jobs? What age groups?
Well, it's funny. So over the last 5 years, seniors, people 65 plus, are the only age group that has consistently in the last 5 years seen enough employment growth to keep up with their population and to keep the EPR to keep the employment participation rate healthy. So until last year, the other age groups, I'm tracking 8 different age groups between the ages of 16 to over 65. Until last year, none of the groups kept pace with population rate in order to keep things at a healthy clip. Last year was the first year since 2007 when all of the age groups, employment for all of the age groups grew fast enough to keep up with population. And then so far this year, we've generally seen in the aggregate, we're seeing enough growth. We've seen an average of 124,000 jobs a month. Like I said, we only need 75,000 in order to keep up with population. But we are seeing some groups benefit more than others. So far this year, year, 35 to 44-year-olds and 45 to 54-year-olds aren't seeing enough growth to keep up with population, whereas 25 to 34-year-olds and 55 to 64-year-olds are actually seeing more growth than they actually need.
Okay, well, that's interesting. And what types of jobs and industries are experiencing the most growth?
So far in the recovery, and then definitely last year, the growth has been strongest in professional and business services, leisure and hospitality, and education and healthcare. The laggards have been construction, government, and information, which includes people in the media, publishing, and telecom industries.
I better watch out for my job here.
People in niche fields in the media seem to be doing well. So particularly people doing online broadcasting seem to be part of the growth market. It tends to be the sort of bigger media conglomerates that are having to deal with the impacts of the new online world.
Well, that's great. Well, I'll keep small. We're only on 10 stations at the moment. So, well, what are the trends that you suggest we should expect for job growth moving forward this year?
Well, so we're anticipating around 151,000 jobs created on the average over the course of the year. That's going to be a little slower than we had last year. So last year we averaged around 216,000 jobs a month. And this is a result of, it's not just the sequester and the overhang of the sequester and, the ballyhoo or whether that's going to happen or not. There has been already over $2 trillion of federal budget cuts that have been agreed to, and between the budget deficit sort of ceiling extension and the agreement to extend the majority of the Bush tax cuts, there have been cuts that have been agreed as part of those deals, those compromises between the Congress and the president. So essentially, we've already passed $2 trillion worth of cuts. The initial phases of some of those cuts are going into place, along with the fact that we didn't extend the payroll tax cut. All those things are going to drag slightly on the economy this year, and so we're expecting healthy growth, but a little slower than what we saw in the preceding year.
Okay. We're talking with Glen Marker with PPR, and we're talking about jobs and how they're affecting the office market. Well, what are some of the cities that we may see the most improvement in job growth in the next few years?
Well, in the near term, next 2-3 years, it's definitely all about, tech, energy, and then, mid to large size Sunbelt metros. So places like Atlanta, Dallas, Raleigh, and Seattle should fare well. In addition, places where metros where there's a high concentration of well-educated people and a fairly low cost of doing business should perform well. Places like Denver or Nashville, for example.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. Well, Glenn, can you give us a closing tip for our listeners?
I would strongly suggest that people pay attention to the employment population ratio amongst the various age cohorts as an indicator of the health and the improvement in the health of the economy instead of focusing in on the unemployment rate. The problem with the unemployment rate is that you need to have a good labor force number, and the problem is that people drop in and out of the labor force for valid and complicating reasons. For valid reasons, they go to college, they decide to raise kids, they decide to retire, so they're no longer participating in the labor force. For complicating reasons, they decide they can't find a job and they give up. And so what happens is as the labor force participation rate moves up and down, it skews the actual unemployment rate. And right now, some recent research I've been working on suggests that the real unemployment rate, if you controlled for the changes in the labor force participation since 2007, would be closer to around 10.5% than the 7.6% that we hear advertised.
Well, that's interesting. Well, Glen Marker, thanks for sharing your insight with us today. We appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me on, Michael.
For more information from PPR and CoStar, visit CoStar.com or on Twitter, follow @the CoStar Group. Well, stay with us. We'll be talking with two major players in the office market for an inside view of the sector. I'm Michael Bull. This is the Commercial Real Estate Show. We'll be right back. The Commercial Real Estate Show is made available by professionals at Cone Resnick, BB&T, France Media, and Bull Realty. For more information about these companies or to access additional show podcasts or videos, visit commercialrealestateshow.com.